Hi there, I'm Lebogang and welcome to Mzansi Business. In today's video, I want to talk about a certain bank that over the years has been shrouded with so much mystery and controversy, VBS Mutual Bank. From its humble beginnings in Makhado to being connected to some highly influential individuals, it would be those same individuals, along with the bank executives, that would pretty much use VBS as a slush fund, ultimately leading to the bank's demise. So, how does this happen, and who's all that's responsible? Let's break it down. VBS Mutual Bank was established in 1982 and initially operated as a vendor building society. The bank was relatively small and was primarily involved in retail banking, with many of its depositors consisting of burial societies and stockfiles. It also issued mortgages and a few small loans secured by deposits. Initially, the vendor pension fund was a majority shareholder, but during the democratic transition, its shares were transferred to the Public Investment Corporation, PIC. It only became a mutual bank in 1992, and because it operated in a rural market which is largely untapped, that was the bank's unique selling point. VBS would go on to have several branches, predominantly in the Limpopo province. Its head office was in Makhado, and its corporate offices in Johannesburg. A man known as Chifiwa Matodzi would form the company Jambu Investments in 2013. The largest shareholder of this company was the vendor royal family. This company would purchase a 26% stake of VBS in 2013. At the time, the South African Reserve Bank had been on the verge of shutting down the small bank, but Matodzi told them he had a strategy to turn the bank around. A plan that included bringing a man known as Andile Ramavunga on board. Ramavunga would shortly become CEO of the bank, and Matodzi became chairman of the board in 2015. Some of the clients VBS had managed to snag include the likes of Eskom, the Makhado Municipality, the West Rand Local Municipality, MTN, the Vamba District Municipality, University of Venda, and Capricorn District Municipality. Apparently, they got the municipalities to deposit money into VBS through dubious means, but we will get into all of that. VBS Bank first gained mainstream attention in 2016 when it gave a 7.8 million loan to then President Jacob Zuma after he was ordered to repay the state for the controversial improvements to his personal homestead at Nkandla. Ever since then, the VBS name spread like wildfire as observers sought to gain insight into the new player in the South African banking industry. All this excitement was short-lived when in 2017, National Treasury told municipalities to withdraw their deposits from VBS Bank because it was actually prohibited for municipalities to deposit public funds in mutual banks because they were subject to less regulation than commercial banks. More than 50% of VBS deposits were from municipalities, so this was a major blow for them. This then led to cash flow problems and VBS being unable to service a 300 million rand loan from Rand Merchant Bank for ordered bonds, as well as coming up short on a certain 295 million rand payment. It was also revealed how Dondo Mogajane, who was Director General of the National Treasury, was bribed 1 million rand in a bid to save the collapsing bank. He was apparently asked by Matodzi if he could delay the ruling that all municipalities must withdraw funds from VBS by 18 months. This didn't seem to have worked though. VBS placed under curatorship. Following the liquidity problems, VBS Bank was placed under curatorship in March 2018 by the South African Reserve Bank. A curatorship is essentially a legal process that involves appointing a curator to manage the affairs of an individual or company. This did not sit well with a lot of people, as they felt like this was undermining the ownership of black-owned companies, and it said that VBS had a plan to solve its liquidity issues, but the South African Reserve Bank was not hearing anything of it. Chairman of VBS, Matodzi, said, "In the end, we are faced with a well-organized and powerful system which does not tolerate growing black banks and black excellence." Close quote. Matodzi also says the bank was being attacked due to its links to Jacob Zuma. And my guy, I'd like to believe you, but the evidence paints a different story. In July 2018, hundreds of panicked people queued for days at the headquarters of VBS Bank in Thohoyandou, Limpopo, in an attempt to extract their money from the failed bank. July 2018, Nedbank would take over VBS depositors' accounts so that they could find a way forward to reimburse depositors, and VBS would be placed into liquidation later that year. Late 2018, the South African Reserve Bank releases a report after a 5-month investigation into the bank. Advocate Terry Mutau, who led the investigation, said that almost 2 billion rands was taken from VBS by 53 people between 2015 and 2018. The individuals include many of the top executives at the bank and other related parties. 53 people is a lot, ne? But let's talk about who chowed the most money and some of the most high-profile cases. Okay, so let's start with Chifiwa Matodzi. Chairman of the board since 2015, he was also chairman of a company known as Vele Investments. This Vele Investments company acquired shares of VBS worth 80 million rands in 2017 through fraudulent means. How did they do this? Vele Investments never paid for the shares, as an 80 million rand deposit that was made to VBS was withdrawn 2 weeks later. Vele Investments also had a string of subsidiaries, including Wegezi Power Holdings, Insure Group, Anglo African Finance, Malibongwe Petroleum, Bophelo Life Insurance, Shompanang Logistics, and the list goes on and on. The problem with all this is that VBS money was actually funding most of Vele Investments ventures. About 175 million in depositors funds were transferred from VBS's corporate account to Bophelo Benefit Services. A further 120 million in depositors money was transferred to Bophelo Life Insurance. It is said that between 250 million and 300 million rand a month was moved from VBS to the Insure Group, but a few days later the money was transferred back into account belonging to VBS. For what reason they would do this, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe some money laundering shandies was going on there. But these back and forth payments at least happened for a few months. Another Vele Investment subsidiary, Anglo African Finance, operated through a 14 million rand overdraft from VBS. Wegezi Power Holding ran its operations through a 7 million overdraft. Vele Investments itself had a 15 million rand overdraft facility at VBS. Vele Investments even acquired a 12.8 million rand Bell helicopter from Marshall Eagle Aviation in 2017. So it becomes clear that Vele Investments used depositors' money to buy and run many of its subsidiaries. Vele Investments would deny all this, saying that the money transferred from VBS to Vele were genuine loans and there was nothing illegal about this. Vele boss Robert Mazonga enjoyed an after-tax monthly income of 400,000 rand a month and a travel allowance of 100,000 rand a month. He also received a further 15 million rand from VBS. The funds were first transferred to Vele, then to another company, and then finally deposited into his personal accounts. This money was used to pay for 6 of his cars worth more than 6 million rands in total, to cover his 200,000 rand monthly bond repayment, and his occasional dinners at an upmarket seafood eatery in Belito. VBS pretty much financed all of Mazonga's cars and properties. Other VBS executives, of course, include CEO Andile Ramavunga. All of this happened under his watch. Chief Financial Officer Philip Truta, Treasurer Poppy Mukudubwane, all were implicated and eventually arrested in 2020 alongside Chifiwa Matodzi. They were later released on bail except for Philip Truta, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 years for fraud and a number of other charges. 2 representatives of the Public Investment Corporation (PIC) were also arrested, Ernest Nesane and Paul Magula. It was found that Nesane received 16.6 million rand and Magula received 12.8 million in payments from VBS. The PIC had a sizable stake in VBS, and Magula was a non-executive director at VBS representing the PIC. And it is said these payments were for them to look the other way and to stay silent about the true nature of VBS's finances. Magula was dismissed for incompetence in 2018 and Nasane resigned 2 days later. Sipho Malaba, an audit partner from KPMG, signed off on the bank's fake financial statements to conceal from regulators how the bank was actually hollowed out. This man knew of a 1 billion rand cash shortage at the bank but signed off on VBS financials anyway. He was gifted about 28 million rands for being a team player. ANC links. A man known as Danny Msiza, who was ANC Limpompo's provincial treasurer, was central to Chifiwa Matodzi's plans. It is said he used his political influence to coerce municipal officials into investing millions of rands into VBS. It is said he was a prime fixer of deals between the bank and the municipalities and was handsomely rewarded in turn for playing his part. His company, Mojovax, had a 9.5 million rand bond registered with VBS, but it was obtained in some questionable ways though. No proper application was made, with the only record being an incomplete application. Also because Mr. Danny Msiza is a high-profile individual, he couldn't personally be involved in these deals. So he needed a frontman. Enter Kabelo Matsepe and his company, Moshate Investments. This company received about 27 million rands from VBS from 2015 to 2018. His company also allegedly assisted in paying the 9.5 million rand bond VBS granted for Msiza's house that we just spoke about. Both Dan Msiza and Kabelo Matsepe are currently standing trial. Florence Radzilani, the former Vemba mayor, was also entangled in all of this and was also implicated as her district had invested over 250 million into VBS. Former Polokwane mayor Thembi Simelane is also tangled in some dodgy dealings with backdated contracts in securing a R500,000 rand loan for a coffee shop from one of VBS's fixers. ANC Treasurer General Paul Mashitile confirmed that the party received a 2 million rand donation from Vele Investments, and it is believed that it could be tied to the 2 billion that was looted from the bank. The vendor king Tony Rambulana was also tangled in this VBS web. Bank statements show how Rambulana got a monthly salary of 300k from Vele on top of the 1.1 million annual salary he was receiving from the state. VBS financed the king's 5 cars worth more than 6.5 million rands, including a Mercedes-Benz Viano, a Range Rover, and a BMW 7 Series. The king is known to throw lavish parties at his home, and his guests are treated to bottles of expensive whiskey or champagne on arrival, and those close to the king also apparently benefited from the bank. VBS paid 9 million rands to a trust which was registered under the king's legal advisor. The trust also had a 6 million rand overdraft from the bank. Some of this money was used to pay for the king's car loan payments and for his bond payments for his house in the upmarket gated suburb, Dainfern. EFF links. According to Matoti, he had a meeting with EFF's leadership and told them they should open an account with VBS and the bank will donate 5 million rands immediately with further regular payments of 1 million rands a month. This comes after the EFF were being critical of the bank for granting Jacob Zuma a loan for his Nkandla homestead. So it said that Brian Chibambu, the brother of EFF deputy president at the time, Floyd Chibambu, and Matsubani Pale, Malema's cousin, were the two main fronts. Brian Chibambu was in control of a company known as Khameka Trading, and Pale was in control of a company known as Mahuna Investments. And these two companies received some of the illicit VBS funds. These companies had no staff, paid no taxes, and it said that they were set up for strategic reasons. According to reports, a number of payments from different VBS link companies totaling about 16 million rands went to Brian Chibambu's company, Khameka Trading. From there, 4.8 million rand of that money in separate payments went to Mahuna Investments, Julius Malema's alleged front, and about 5 million also in separate payments went to Grand Azania, Floyd Chibambu's alleged front, as well as about 1.3 million of that money going towards propping up the EFF. Let's start with Grand Azania, Floyd Chibambu's alleged front. This account can be linked to him as he once apparently sent a WhatsApp to businessman Lawrence Muluwadzi saying he was in need of an intervention. 2 days later, this Grand Azania account was sent 200,000 rands from Muluwadzi. I'm also in need of an intervention. But this account paid for Floyd's wedding in 2017. It also allowed him to pay his 1.8 million rand car loan for his white Range Rover, as well as paying more than 2 million rands towards 3 properties he and his parents lived in, and about 180k went straight to his personal account. It is said that Floyd Chibambu took the bank card on a Sandton City shopping spree, spending about 20k on clothes at Gucci, 3,500 at Nike, 7,000 rands at Louis Vuitton, all just in time for his birthday trip to Zambia. Chibambu spent his birthday on New Year's Day 2017 next to the Victoria Falls. The Grand Azania bank account was also being busy with Chibambu in Zambia, paying 8,500 at the Royal Livingston Hotel. It is said that he used his influence with VBS management to gain at least 2 loans under suspicious circumstances to Khameka projects, a 4 million rand business loan that flowed through Khameka as well as a home loan. And this isn't everything, but I'm sure you get the picture. The company's legal owner, Brian Chibambu, used very little of the money, and his personal expenditure can only be traced to around 600,000 rands. So, did Julius Malema himself chow any of this money? Well, we just spoke about how his alleged fund, Mahuna, that was run by his cousin, received almost 5 million rand, right? Well, around the same time, by matching Julius Malema's social media posts to bank statements from Mahuna, a couple of purchases can be linked to Malema. showing the bank card was actually with him or he directly benefited from it. Investigative group Scorpio found that some of the VBS loot was spent in Durban and Ballito during the Durban July in 2017 and in 2018 on the EFF's 5th birthday celebrations, as well as in Seshego and Polokwane on a number of occasions. On a separate occasion, this Mahuna Investments card also spent 20k at Gucci and Louis Vuitton. The card spent 400,000 on a lodge in Polokwane and 11,000 for a stay in the Hampshire Hotel in Ballito, as well as 149 Rand on Nando's in Vryburg. Yeah, can't forget to eat, right? VBS also at least funded 2 properties Malema has stayed in. That's not even all the things that this card paid for, but I'm sure you get the idea. The owner of this account, Matsubane, received the sum total of 245,000 Rand in director fees paid into his personal account between 2017 and 2018. This pretty much shows that he wasn't the main benefactor for the money that was flowing into Mahuna Investment. I feel like it's important to note that Julius and Matsubane both say they are not close at all despite being cousins. Brian Shivambu, being advised by his lawyers, signed a secret contract in 2021 admitting and having received 4.5 million of the VBS loot and promised to pay back the money. Also in 2023, the Parliamentary Ethics Committee found that the former EFF deputy leader Floyd Shivambu had received VBS money through transfers from Schameka projects totaling 180k, but there was no evidence that can be found that EFF leader Julius Malema received any of the VBS missing funds. And I don't cover everything, like how it was said in 2017 after major banks were closing bank accounts of the Gupta family in relation to the whole state capture shandies. At least 2 Gupta-owned companies opened up a bank account with VBS, at least for a short while. And it is said that the South African Communist Party was allegedly bribed 3 million to keep quiet about VBS and Gupta links. It was revealed that in 2021, 15 local municipalities in Limpopo, the Northwest, and Gauteng deposited about 1.6 billion with VBS Mutual Bank. In July 2024, former chairperson Chifiwa Mathozi was sentenced to an effective 15 years in prison on multiple counts of fraud and other charges. His testimony was super explosive and implicates a number of people, including leaders from the ANC and the EFF. Apparently there is chat of the bank being revived, but we'll just have to see how that progresses. I do honestly think maybe a plan could have been made to revive the bank because 1.9 billion is quite a small amount compared to other scandals in South Africa. But let's not forget that in this case it was a lot of ordinary people, burial societies and stockpiles that were affected, and all because of the mismanagement of a few people. And that's a wrap for this video. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm Lebogang. This is Mzansi Business. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.